The tradition of science fiction and fantasy series that find their legs in elite academies is a long one. Such celebrated works as R.F. Kuang's Poppy War trilogy and Piers Brown's Red Rising embrace and consequentially flip the wizarding and boarding school tropes to great success. This pair of examples have plenty in common. The principal character to both trilogies is fueled by a deep and abiding need for vengeance. Both Rin and Darrow subscribe to a philosophy whereby the ends justify the means. Both are consummate liars, their very survival often dependent on complex political maneuvering in life and death situations. Viz, real name Diago, the protagonist of James Islington's Will of the Many, is like Rin and Darrow only in that last aspect. Only lies keep him from a grisly fate. Under the hierarchy that took his home through threat of violence and hanged his parents, Viz's compassion and unwillingness to commit monstrous acts, however, make of him a wholly different kind of principal character. Let's dig deeper into Islington's Will of the Many then, shall we? If you like to think of books via ingredient lists, here are a few notable ones. Inspired world building in a setting that draws from Republican Rome, an enjoyable magic system that will appeal to hard magic lovers, and notable characters and political intrigue. I'll unpack these in due time. Before I do, however, one element of the Will of the Many is worth going into at some depth. Like many fantasy novels, the Will of the Many looks backwards. The socio-political power of the hierarchy, rulers of the known world, rests on knowledge extracted from the ruins of an older, collapsed order. A collapse like that suffered by this golden age is a threat looming from the shadows, ephemeral at first, but more and more definite the deeper the reader dives into the hierarchy's present. This is the kind of book that, if it gets its hooks on you, it'll refuse to let go for tens of hours. I listened to it as an audiobook and was enchanted. So lost in the world and Viz's difficulties that I couldn't limit myself to listening just in the gym or while doing chores. I had to open up a game and start doing menial map clearing activities while having a ball with James Islington's work. You know, the kind of Ubisoft games I'm talking about, if you're a gamer. Viz is a disinherited prince of an island country living a lie to survive his death sentence. He hates the hierarchy that killed his parents and consumed his people in the way of all empires through the logic of colonialism. Trade, a growing want for amenities, all these caused is the sacrifice of his people's culture and conscience as their own unique society. All difference to be melted away as they take their place in the hierarchy. The name of this society is the Katenan Republic, so I'll always think of it as the hierarchy first and foremost. After all, it is defined by a hierarchy of those who command the will of the people. And because this is a fantasy novel with a rather hard magic system, will is a tangible resource, a source of power. Every citizen is expected to provide a portion of their will to those above them, and every wielder of will has access to many citizens' collective powers. A Septimus draws will from 8 octavi, and 7 septimi cede will to a sixtus. In effect, the higher up a hierarchy individual is on the ladder of authority, the more exponentially powerful they are, in a way that recalls a geometric progression of power, but not quite, or else the visual structure that is most commonly linked to a hierarchy, the pyramid. Will allows its wielders a great many abilities, the least of which are physical in nature. Endurance and physical strength far greater than those of a human who doesn't draw will. There is more to say, of course, but I'll let you study this magical system for your own selves. There is a good bit of romance here, the kind that gets terribly twisted up by misunderstanding and falsehoods. The gender politics of the Catenan Republic are patriarchal. Even women who channel will with particular prowess tend to be forced into either a traditional position in the household or towards support roles, cast in societal roles in line with the mother, maid, crone trifecta. For my money, that's all about to change with the next couple of books. And certainly, while the Republic might like its neat gender divisions, almost none of the women close to Viz are what you'd dub traditional models of femininity. His adopted mother, Relucia Telemus, who plays into the angel of the house role whenever she's home, is nothing of the sort in reality. The blind mentor who prepares Viz for his time in the academy, Lanistia Scipio, is about as capable a tutor as you could find for any kid with aspirations, and many times scarier than you might like. Even Emissa, with whom Viz has the romantic entanglement I mentioned, even she hides multitudes. All these relationships Viz develops thanks to a chance encounter with Ulsiskor, a powerful Quintus in the Senate, and a member of the Republic's military wing. Alongside religion and governance, these three power blocks control the Republic, and so they control the world. Ulsiskor adopts Viz and sends him to the Academy, not out of some philanthropic urge, but because he needs an agent in the prestigious place of learning, someone to destabilize religion's grip on the place so that military can gain access to its secrets. Ulsiskor, of course, doesn't know Viz's true identity. Even when he figures out that his adopted son's story of middle-class education is bogus, the truth is well beyond anything he can imagine. Viz thus lies to the man for whom he lies. Further, a band of rebels attempting to change the Empire through violent means has its hooks in our protagonist, but he is far from honest with them too. This isn't a Darrow situation, where Viz is actively working with a revolutionary movement and has subscribed to their ideas. Rather, he is induced to follow certain of their orders, on threat of Ulsiskor and everyone else finding out the truth of his origins. So Viz is lying to everyone. Adopted parents, tutors, the friends he quickly makes across a few classes of the academy. It's a hard life, and one of the central emotions the will of the many awakened in me was empathy. Empathy towards Viz in his struggles, and especially in how alone he is. There is something to be said about the arc he goes through, the triumphs he accomplishes, and the losses he endures. The friends he makes, though, God, I loved the connections Islington creates here. Their wonderful complexity. Calidus, a class 7 student capable and smart enough to be in class 3, the top class, was an absolute scene stealer. I was afraid that Islington might go down a rogue route with him, for all my red rising fans, fellow fans, you know what I mean, but I oughtn't to have feared. Things go in a very different direction indeed. It's a gripping world Islington has created and compelling characters. I'd read more about every one of them, more about the whole world, certainly. You can tell then that I am excited indeed to see the follow-up. The strength of the few land in my hands, or at least in my ears. I did the audiobook version of this one, and narrator Ewan Morton has shot up to the top of my favorite male narrators. His voice hits incredibly pleasant registers, somewhere between hoarse and with a lot of vocal fry, in just the right way. Phenomenal, nothing short of phenomenal, the book and narration both. November 11th, when The Strength of the Few comes out. It cannot come soon enough. If you enjoyed this video, friends, please share it with your friends, with your grandma, and with your enemies. Let me know what was the latest epic fantasy that you read. I am eager to find some interesting, gripping reads to talk about in the coming months. For now, if you are looking forward to another fantasy review, tune in next Wednesday. I also have sci-fi reviews and various miscellaneous videos on Friday. The sci-fi stuff comes out on Mondays. So please, by subscribing and ringing that bell for those sweet notifications, you will be sure to hear about those videos as they come out. Until then, I'm Philip Magnus, you're not, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!